So Jim was a real special client for me. We met at a lecture. I'd lectured about geriatric care management, and he hired me after that experience. He was very healthy. He lived alone in a retirement community, not my typical client. He wanted to learn as much as he could about healthcare needs and what would happen at the end when his health failed. So he asked me to meet with him about quarterly. We would get together, and he wanted to learn. He wanted to learn everything about Medicare, about resources, about what-if scenarios if he developed this illness and that illness. He knew nothing about engaging a healthcare power of attorney. He had no healthcare power of attorney because he had no family. So when we had our meetings, he was very precise in how he wanted to learn his material, and asked for a trifold board, and I would write the different resources or information that I felt like was important to him, and he would take notes and have a visual experience with that and then put that into his plan. He really wanted to have control and make decisions based on good information for his quality of life. And so on the front end, worked as a teacher for Jim, and the story really tells about what he brought to my table as much as he taught me as well. And then as time progressed, we worked together for about 3 years. He needed my help to connect him with caregivers and with other resources. We found a healthcare power of attorney who was a lawyer to act on his behalf and understand his unique wishes. And he was a very proud man, and what he knew is that when his health started to fail, that he wanted to have a very dignified exit, final chapter of his life. And in his studies, he'd come across a group, Compassion and Choices, and he shared that with me and with his lawyer and his caregiver, and asked that we understand what his hopes were. And he put all of that in writing. We were very familiar with what he needed. And as his condition did deteriorate, his doctor diagnosed him with failure to thrive. And that is when Jim decided his mechanism to end his suffering and not prolong his suffering would be to stop taking food and water. And that is what his desire for our engagement was really at that point, to be his advocate and remind people that he was a human being who needed support and follow through on his wishes. And his real desire was to be at home as long as possible and be able to walk into the inpatient hospice facility when that time came. And indeed, with all of the teamwork that we were able to coordinate for him, he was able to walk in to hospice at about day 6 or 7 of his final journey and have the dignity to understand who those staff members were and know that they were going to help him at the final days, which actually was able to completely go as he had desired. And it was a beautiful experience for him, and as a geriatric care manager, to be able to have success and to know somebody from all the way from the health through the difficult chapters and to see the end materialize in the way that he personally desired was a gift to me.